To chat about what you saw tonight, or if you watched on TV or listened on the radio, you want to chat about that, I'll be here for, I don't know, about 45 minutes or so, and then we'll throw it over to JD. And then, hey, even if you might be driving home from the Warriors game right now based on the way that one's going. So 808 KNBR is the number. If you remember, I think it was last week, it was the first game in Chicago. It was 9-2, and the team played. They look tired. The errors all over, and guys that don't make errors. And I said 9-2. Those games are easy to shower off. Remember I said that, and we kind of had a fun show, and we said the 2-1 games, the 3-2 games, the close games. Those are the tough ones. Well, tonight falls into that category. There's nothing to really giddy about here tonight after the Giants scored one run, and what are you going to say? There's some adjustments that need to be made. Some weaknesses are starting to rear their heads. But if you're talking about what Justin Verlander did tonight, he gave up 2 solo home runs. Solo home runs shouldn't beat you. When we're talking about Justin Verlander's career and trying to get to 300 wins, and there's been a couple of blown saves. Okay, that's part of it. But every once in a while, the offense has to pull their pants up, buckle their belt, put their helmets on, and go, we're going to take care of this tonight. And I know Merrill Kelly's had his way with the Giants over the whatever. I know he went 7 innings, gave up 1 run on 8 hits, struck out 8, didn't walk anybody. Lots of off-speed pitches to the Giants hitters. Patrick Bailey is really scuffling right now. I don't know that I've seen a hitter take so many off-balance, one-handed swings where they're just non-competitive at-bats. And we've all been there as players. And there's no mercy in the schedule. It doesn't ease up. The at-bats start rolling in every single day, one after another. And you got to figure something out. Whether it's, I used to have an emergency mode stance where I'd spread out and take my stride out of it and just try to keep my head still and compete. Stick my nose in there and grind. Just try to slap a single somewhere or hit a ground ball up the middle. On certain nights or certain times in the season where you're just absolutely lost, there's one thing you can do as a player when you're absolutely lost, and that's compete. And that's the only thing you really have control over. I remember I didn't play for a couple of weeks, and all of a sudden I'm in the lineup against Randy Johnson. And Brett Main, who was our backup catcher here in San Francisco, came up to me and said, FP, just do one thing for me tonight, and it's all you can do. He said, it's not fair that you haven't played in 2 weeks and you're facing Randy tonight. Just go out there and compete. And that pumped me up. Just go out there and compete. It's not about me getting hits. It's not about, it's me doing something little to help the ball club win. And I'm not picking on Patrick Bailey, but right now he's a little bit lost. He is, if I'm being honest, and I have to be to have credibility on the show. There's other guys that are scuffling too. I know Willie Adames is scratching his head, maybe thinking, why did I sign here? Because that home run he hit that fly ball, I should say, that he hits a home run in Milwaukee. The ball wasn't flying tonight. It wasn't traveling. But for whatever reason, this offense is just sputtering. They are. And I went on with Greg Papa today, and I was talking to some Giants coaches about the series in Minnesota, and they were saying that, that was one of the better staffs they've faced. And, you have to agree with the stuff that they saw. The 99 with the 100 miles an hour fastballs out of the bullpen with the 98 mile an hour splits. I don't know how some of these guys hit. So the game isn't easy. And I'm not just singling out Patrick Bailey, but I kind of am, because the one thing you can always do as a player, no matter what, is compete. Just compete. And I'm not saying he's not, but some of the swings are off balance. There's weak pop-ups and weak ground balls. I would love to see him just spread out, choke up, stick his nose in there, and grind. And whatever happens, happens. I mean, you go up and down the lineup. Luis Matos was 0 for 3 tonight. He's hitting 175. Bailey was 1 for 4, hitting 183. Willie Adames 1 for 4 with the double in the gap. Wilmer Flores 1 for 4. Jung-Hoo Lee 1 for 4. Can we talk about Elliot Ramos for a minute? Right when we were all wondering how this left field thing is going to go for him, he makes 2 Superman catches yesterday, another diving catch today, 3 for 4. With 3 infield singles, if I'm not mistaken, and his out was an 11-pitch bullet that Lourdes Gurriel did some sort of circus act on a bad route on the track and saved the game for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yaz is scoring that. If that goes off the wall, Yaz is scoring easily. He was already around second. He's a great base runner. He was reading it. So things just aren't going well, obviously, for the Giants right now. But getting back to Verlander, he did everything you can possibly do tonight. 6 strong innings, 2 solo home runs. Corbin Carroll misses the bus. We're still playing, or the Giants win 1-0. But I know there's been a lot of people saying, well, what about Verlander? He's not too old. He's going out there and getting 79 pitches, 60 were strikes. That's a tremendous ratio for Verlander. And he did everything he could to keep his team in the game. The 300 wins, he'll get them. It's just not happening right now. 808 KNBR is the number. Jacob, if there's text me if there's callers. I know you will.
Will do.
And let me know. But here's how it's going to go. I'm going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to reset the show. John Dickinson's going to be up next to talk about the Warriors. They're getting routed right now. I don't even know what the score is, but that doesn't look good either. Give me a call if you're driving home from the game. FP Santangelo in the bunker. You're listening to the Sports Leader.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sports Phone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Koss with a shot into right field, a base hit. Here comes Adames. Here's the throw home. Cut off. The throw to second is in the dirt, but now Perdomo's got it, and he will throw, and it's Marte who tags out Koss to end the inning. But the Giants pick up a run on the base hit by Christian Koss.
FP in the bunker, 808 KNBR is the number. Take your calls right now. When you have a lead and you drive in a run and you think there's going to be a play at the plate, as the base runner, you keep going to second base. You try to draw the throw. Try to get the guy to cut it off, and then you try to draw the throw. Because you're up 3-2 or 4-2 or 5-2, whatever, that run or that extra run or the go-ahead run is important. So when you think there's going to be a close play at the plate, while you see the runner continue at first base and getting a run down, you saw Correa do it in Minnesota the other day where he just stopped and got tagged. That's so that the add-on run scores for sure, because that's a big run. But when you represent the tying run, you got to stay at first base. And if he gets thrown out at home, that's Matt Williams' fault or Willie Adames' fault or whoever's fault, but it's not yours. So I know what Christian Koss was doing there, and he's done a really nice job for these guys. He's playing some really good baseball, great defense. He's turning the double play. He's laying down bunts. He's a baseball player. I love watching the kid play, but tonight that's one where you don't want to get thrown out. You heard the groan if you were here by the crowd, and Giants fans are smart. They realize it too. That's the tying run. He can steal a base. The inning is still going. The top of the order is coming up. Yaz is walking up to the plate thinking, I'm going to hit a double. So that's in a one-run game, little things like that turn out to be big things. Getting back to Justin Verlander, last five. This is from Glenn Kuiper. We were sitting up in the booth tonight, and he gave me this information, so I'm not going to act like I did it. I did zero show prep tonight. 29 in the third innings pitched, 9 earned runs in his last 5 with a 2.76 ERA, 23 strikeouts, 7 walks. I mean, this guy's pitching well enough to win. He's 0-3 with a 4.31. I mean, I have tons of confidence in this guy when he takes the mound. It's just a matter of time before he reels off 3 or 4 or 5 in a row. But like I said, repeating myself from the first segment, if you're just jumping in your car, every once in a while, the offense has got to say, hey, bro, we got you tonight. Like, we're going to score 5 or 6 or 7 for you tonight. Not for us, but to get you a W. And maybe they're trying too hard. I always tell that story about Pedro Martinez. Whenever he pitched, it was a 2-1 game, and we couldn't get him runs. And I think we just tried too hard to get him runs, and he used to look at me funny, and I'd say, you're batting ninth, do something. But maybe, and you always get the best bolt from the other team's pitcher when you have one of your better pitchers on the mound. Merrill Kelly, his numbers against the Giants have been great over the years, especially recently. He's been the Giant slayer. He threw 103 pitches tonight. 68 of those were strikes. And let's go to the phones. I'm sick of talking. Here we go. Where are we at? We're going to Orlando. Is it Josh in Orlando? Josh in Orlando. You're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, FP. I just looked at all the numbers. Heliot Ramos, in the last 24 games, hitting .542, and he's got 13 hits and 2 home runs. He's on fire. He needs to be a top of the lineup and let the rest of the guys figure it out. You
like him in the leadoff spot?
Well, the guys are not hitting. You got to put him there until the rest of the guys start hitting, because I don't know what to do with May, but it's like a curse for all these guys except Ramos.
I like what Bob Melvin did with the lineup tonight. I think when you're scuffling as an offense, you got to shake it up a little bit. Heliot Ramos is your best hitter right now. With the 3 hits tonight, he goes to 290 on the season. Like you said, the crazy stats on the road trip, especially in Minnesota with the home runs. And all of a sudden his defense has been affected by his offense. His defense wasn't the best early in the season. We were watching a lot of fly balls that everyone thought, oh, that's going to be caught, that dropped, and some misreads out there. But he's been working real hard. And sometimes, you get in a groove on defense too. Make a couple diving plays. Dig yourself on MLB Network with top plays. SportsCenter back in the day had web gems. And now you start to get confidence on defense too. So they all kind of go together. There's so many stats and numbers in this game, and there's so many analytics, but the confidence to me in how you feel in your approach. I thought moving Willie Adames down tonight was brilliant. Dansby Swanson in Chicago was moved down to the 7th spot, I believe, recently, and all of a sudden he took off. And sometimes when you're hitting 6, Josh, or 7th, you sit there and you watch the game kind of comes to you. Like when you're jumping in that batter's box at the first inning, the at-bats are piling up, it's like tick, 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 and all of a sudden it's 0 for 4, 0 for 4, 0 for 4. And the season has no mercy, like I said earlier. if you're hitting 6, by the time you get up to the plate, you got a pretty good idea of your game plan. And your game plan might fluctuate. You might have a great game plan in the clubhouse. You might get in the dugout. You're watching whomever pitch. And then sometimes I would pick somebody that was like me hitting, and I would watch how they pitched to him. And by the time my rookie year, I hit 7th all year. And by the time I got up in the 7th spot, I had a really good idea of what the pitcher was trying to do to us and then what I wanted to do to him. And it takes a little bit of pressure off when you're down the lineup like that. And then when you hit 7th, there's usually traffic out there because 2, 3, 4, 5 are on the bases. You got guys ideally that are going to be out there for you. So I kind of like that move a lot until Willie locks in.
Yeah, I think Willie's going to come around. It's a good move what you're saying, but I like to see a little bit more movement with your best hitter. He was great at his third part of the lineup. He batted third, and he had those 3 hits. And they just got to shake it up, leave it. Leaving it how it is not working.
All right, Josh, thanks for the call. I think Bob Melvin gets that. I think Buster and Zach get that, and we'll see how this whole thing unfolds. I mean, you can tinker. I mean, just so everybody that's really angry tonight, the Giants are 24-18, 6 games over 500, and there's 120 of these left. 120 ball games left. And so you can get caught up into the everyday of it, right? And get that football mentality where when the Niners lose on Sunday, we have to wait a week, and it's, oh my God, the sky is falling. Baseball's a little bit different. At least for me, I never panic early in the season. And maybe it's because I've been around this for a long time. And the last time I was involved in a team that was in a World Series, they started the year 19-31. And you were talking about managers losing their job and general managers losing their job. And it was bad, really bad. And things just started to slowly turn around. Things slowly got better. The confidence grew. They started putting together series wins, and they reeled off 5 or 6 in a row and then lost 1, 4 or 5 in a row. And the whole thing just flipped a U-turn. So when you're talking about 24-18, what is that? 40 games or 42 games, and there's 120 of these left. I just can't freak out yet. And if you go on Twitter, it's like, this guy needs to be released, and this guy needs to be a starter. And you talk about, there's some guys that probably will get a chance to start this year that you're thinking about, right? But you have to stretch those guys out and find a way to get them to 100 pitches so they can give you 5 or 6 innings when they start, the obvious names that you're thinking about. But it's not a video game. And I said this with Greg Papa this morning. It's not a video game, and it's not fantasy league baseball. You can't just plug a guy here and put a guy there. But that's the mentality we have as sports fans nowadays, because we all play fantasy football. We all play fantasy baseball. When I say we, I'm not talking about myself. I don't play any of those things. But most people play fantasy football, fantasy baseball. And it's like, I'll trade you so-and-so for so-and-so, and then you think you're NFL GM and you could run a team, and maybe some of you could. Who knows? But the same thing goes for baseball. You just think, okay, start Hayden Birdsong tomorrow. Well, Hayden Birdsong is only used to 2, maybe 3 innings right now. How do you stretch him out? How do you get him to get to 100 pitches? And Kyle Harrison just got called up. And then you're talking about Jordan Hicks or Landon Roop going to the bullpen. What's the mentality of those guys accepting that role? And I know it's about the team, and you're sitting there going, well, they should do whatever's best for the team. We saw what's going on with Rafael Devers in Boston right now. Maybe he doesn't want to play first base. He made it clear. I don't think it's that he doesn't want to play first base. I think it was how he was approached in the communication about playing first base, where, hey, we signed a third baseman. Guess what? You're not playing third. You're going to DH this year. Oh, our first baseman got hurt. Guess what? You're going to be the backup first baseman. And that's kind of how he feels. He's got a $300 million deal or whatever it is. It's like, wait a minute. I'm the man here, and this isn't how it goes. We would love for him to try wearing the orange and black. I think that would be wonderful. If you want to play fantasy league and trade whoever for that guy.
Tell you what, FP, though. He ain't playing third base in San Francisco either.
No, he's not. But if you're Buster Posey, and we're just having fun here. Hell if I know, and I don't want to get in any trouble or anything. But what if Buster talked to him and said, "Hey, we'll just ease you in at first, and you'll play a few games there, DH a little bit, give Chappie a day off at third, But hey, they're not getting rid of their franchise. I mean, they got rid of Mookie Betts, though. And Ken Rosenthal had an article today saying a trade wouldn't be out of the realm for the Red Sox right now. And it's fun sports talk radio talk to think about that. I screwed around with the lineup, Jacob, last night with my son. We were texting back and forth. We were just being dorks. I was bored on the plane coming back from Minnesota, and you get Wi-Fi. And I said, what about this lineup? And, I mean, we can play a little bit. Here's the thing. I never want to step on toes of people that do this for a living. And they get here at 9 in the morning. They leave at midnight. And they're on the phone every day thinking of ways with meetings, trying to make the team better, whether it's Zach Manassian or Buster Posey or Bob Melvin or Ryan Christensen or JP Martinez or Pat Burrell. They're all in there grinding. And they're trying to figure out a way to make this team better. And I thought that the sweep in Minnesota, as crappy as that felt on the plane for those guys coming home yesterday, like sometimes early in the season, it's okay to get beat and find out where you're vulnerable because there's 120 games left. And if you say that's a weak spot, that's a weak spot, that's a weak spot, let's address those. And I think after 40 games, it's not perceived as a panic move. As a player, if you're in a clubhouse and changes are made knee-jerk, now all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, we're panicking. And guys will say that. We're panicking right now. Seriously? Like, we're 40 games into this. We've got 120 left, and we're making moves, and we're sending guys down. We're calling guys up. And I think that's what Buster wants to do is, like, create an atmosphere of stability and confidence. That not that it's okay to fail, but if you do, it's a hard game. And if you do fail, like, we have confidence in you. I tell the story all the time on the air. I was struggling in April as a Giant. Grew up a Giants fan, signed with the Giants. It's the greatest thing ever. And Brian Sabian poked me in the chest with his index finger and said, we don't make mistakes, and walked away. Meaning, we signed you and we think you're good. We don't make mistakes. And all of a sudden, I stood a little taller. I got a little more confident. I made some adjustments in my swing. I spread out like I was talking in the first segment and started competing. Base hit here. Oh, my gosh. 1 for 4. That feels great. 1 for 3 with a walk. Oh, my God. Here we go. 2 for 3. And then the hits start coming, and you start to relax, and you start to get confident. You start to believe in yourself. And you're like, I can play here, and I've shown my new teammates I can play here. I've shown the fan base I can play here. I've showed the manager I can play here. I've showed the GM I can play here. And then the whole thing just starts to snowball in the right direction. And I went from hitting 150 in April to 300 by the All-Star break. Just by little things like that, little nuggets that happen behind the scenes that make you feel better about yourself as a competitor. But it all starts with the same thing. When you go out between those white lines on a daily basis in front of 20, 30, 40,000, whatever it might be, there's one thing you can control, and that's to compete and to grind and to do whatever you can to help your team win that game. It's not about me getting hits. It's not about me throwing a shutout. It's not me striking guys out. It's about what can I do today to help my team win. And I always thought at the major league level, it was easier to have a good game than the minor league level. In the minors, you got to put up your numbers to get to the big leagues. So sometimes it can get a little self-centered, get a little selfish. An 0 for 3 with a sacrifice bunt, or an 0 for 3 with a walk, and you read a ball in the dirt at first on your walk, and you end up scoring the winning run, and you make 2 diving plays. I don't know if that gets you the big leagues. But if you have that game for a winning team in the big leagues, that's a good game. An 0 for 2 with a sacrifice bunt, a walk, a run scored, 2 great plays. You got a guy over. That's a good game in the big leagues. So you kind of simplify the whole thing when you get up here. What can I do today to help my team win? What can I do? Because there's so much that's out of your control. Once you throw the ball on the mound, it's out of your control. Once the ball goes off the barrel of your bat, hopefully, it's out of your control. So what can you do to control the outcome of today's game? What can I do that's in my control? And I used to write goals every single day in my hotel room on a pad of paper when I was at home. And they were game goals, and they were goals that were achievable. I never wrote go 3 for 4 because you can't control that. I would say have 4 great at-bats, swing at good low strikes, barrel up 4 baseballs today. And then I would say make all the plays on defense, whatever. Be a good teammate, be positive, have great energy, play with enthusiasm, stuff like that. Things that you could control. And then I would go back after the game and I would check those boxes if they were checkable. Sometimes they weren't. And then you reassess, you reevaluate, and then you go back out there and you just let it all out with these guys for 2.5 hours. That's it. It used to be 4 hours. 2.5 hours. Go out there and let it ride like it's the last game you'll ever play every single day. Stick your nose in there and compete. That's all you can control. 808 KNBR is the number. Jacob, where are we at the basketball game? What do we got going on with the hoops?
Minute left. JD has just checked in with us. I don't know if I don't know if he can come on until after the game is over, but we're a minute left. And Warriors downtown.
He said give him 10 minutes. So we'll go to the end of the Warriors game, then we'll throw it to JD because there's not a lot to talk about tonight. I thought Giants fans would be a little more fired up. Maybe I'm on Twitter too much. I got to get off Twitter. Everyone's so mad at Twitter. Mad on Twitter. All right, I'm going to take a quick commercial break. FP Santangelo here in the bunker. We'll take some more calls on the other side. We got time for some more calls, and then we'll throw it to JD, who's going to talk. Warriors are getting drubbed, I guess. We'll talk about all of that. Not a great day for Bay Area sports on the Sports Leader.